welcome to the LTH product briefing. I'm delighted to be joined today by Tim Follett, the CEO and founder of StructureFlow. Welcome, Tim.
Hi, Nikki. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Tim, we're excited today to see a little bit more of StructureFlow and some of the work that's been done on StructureFlow, but can you provide us perhaps with a bit of a background of how the company came to be and how it's evolved over time?
Absolutely. So I was a corporate transactional attorney and I was doing a lot of work on M&A deals, structurings, and I saw that there was this power behind working visually, that you could explain complex things to people and that you could understand things yourself really easily if you were to start drawing a picture. And if you were being given a new matter by a partner, you had to read loads of emails and contracts and just get up to speed. If you started drawing that out and mapping it, you became quite confident that you knew what you were talking about. So you could go into that room with the partner and say, actually, you know what, I think you've got that quite right here. Or you could be on a call with a client and you could be explaining something complex and saying, actually, this is how it looks. It's like this and this. So visual thinking, visual communication, super, super powerful. But the problem was that it was just very painful to create visual content. As a junior lawyer at a big law firm with Microsoft Office, the only tool you really had was PowerPoint. You're moving shapes and lines around. It takes a huge amount of time. It's very painful and frustrating, very laborious. And so there was this kind of catch-22 where you could create visual content that would really wow clients, that people would comment about it and go, actually, you know what, that was so great, getting that short, zippy diagram that explained that thing to me. But actually, it took a huge amount of time to create that. And actually, when the clients saw that on their bill, they go, hang on, how much time did you spend in PowerPoint creating that? So there was this mismatch between the kind of power that visualization had and the amount of time and effort that it took to create it. And that's where the kind of entry point for StructureFlow started for me, was like, the lawyer of the future cannot be using PowerPoint. The lawyer of the future is going to have clients that want visual content, that want you to be talking to them and thinking through things visually. So how do we solve for that? How do we elevate the game here so that we can allow people to create this stuff a lot more easily than they could otherwise?
That's great, Tim. And so StructureFlow was the result of that. And what are you going to show us today specifically?
I'm going to take you through the application, the key areas of the application. There's three main areas to that. One is around diagram creation. How do you easily create content in StructureFlow? The second, which is the area I'm most interested and excited about at the moment, is around how do you automate the creation of content? How can you take data and automatically create a diagram from that data? And the third is collaboration. How can we bring content into StructureFlow? Could be existing PowerPoints. How can we then push it out into other formats that people can then use and work with?
It sounds terrific. Let's jump in and take a look if you're ready.
Cool. Absolutely. We're seeing a wide variety of different use cases with StructureFlow being used, where you're mapping a complex structure, needing to understand how all the different pieces of a legal matter fit together, where you're working on structuring funds and having to think about all the different entities that are involved, where you are having to think about the funding flows, movement of money around a structure, etc. And all of these different use cases, they fundamentally come down to people having to work with legal entities, contracts, assets, funding flows, etc. And so with StructureFlow, what we do is we give people these building blocks that they can then work with. So you'll see on the left-hand side here, we've got corporate entities that you can drag onto the canvas like this. And we give people the ability to very quickly build up that core structure without otherwise in PowerPoint having to move shapes and lines around and connect them, etc. So we're just trying to speed that up. And with these, we can then create contracts and assets and funding flows and layer that into the structures. For example, if I wanted to take this entity down here and this entity here, we can put a contract in place between these two like this. If I wanted to then show that there's been a payment from this company, I can do that by creating a flow line like this. And so we're giving people just this ability to really quickly build up their structure far faster than they'd be able to do it in PowerPoint. The second piece to this is that actually, what if there are existing data sets and sources where information is already recorded? For example, here, we've got a block of text which is describing HSBC's corporate structure. Can we just take all of that information like this, go back into StructureFlow, and then automate the creation of the diagram by going to our import capability? So we can go up here to import text, can do a structure chart, copy and paste that in, and we're then using the OpenAI service in Azure to look at that text, to extract the legal entities, and then to send that back to us with the ownership relationships in a way that we can then put onto the canvas like this.
That feels
And
like
what that's,
magic, Tim.
thank you very much. And what we're trying to do here, like magic, is just speed up that process of diagram creation, because I can obviously come in here now, and as a user, I can then start modeling with this in the same way that I did before. I can be like, okay, I want to have a contract between these two. I want to have a payment flow going from that to that, etc. But I'm able to do this by taking an existing block of data and then work with it. And we're doing this not just with natural language that you've just seen, but also if we were to take a more structured data set, like a data set relating to a corporate structure like Aston Martin, like we've got here, we're then able to go into StructureFlow, and in exactly the same way, I can create a new sheet, I can go to import, and I can import the Excel. So let's take that file and import it, and it's put it on another sheet like this. So we're super interested in the way that you can create diagrams from underlying data creation, automation, and then the last piece, which is around collaboration. How can we facilitate bringing everyone together around a shared understanding of a particular matter, something complex, in the same way that you can imagine a bunch of people crowding around a whiteboard and looking at something and talking to it? How can we facilitate people looking at something like this on the screen at the moment? Perhaps it's a lawyer with their client talking through their existing structure, looking at the core information about that structure, thinking about what they want to achieve with this next transaction. How can we do that? And we're developing and have sharing capability that allows you to share the projects, not just internally, but also externally with that share button that we have at the top here. And then also, how can we export easily into other formats? Exporting images to put into, could be as simple as putting into a Word document or an email, really professional looking quality PDF reports with firm logos, firm branding. How can we export to PowerPoint in a way that allows you to then manipulate the content as if it was native to PowerPoint? So full editability in PowerPoint. How can you export to Word, etc.? So we're trying to now plug into the workflows so that people can get content in really easily, which might be, as I just showed you, from those Excel or text or PowerPoint import sources, because we can import from PowerPoint. How can we then give people an ability to manipulate within StructureFlow, and then how can they export that content out?
Tim, when you say that share button, so would that allow you, for example, so clients could come in and work with you in the StructureFlow platform to collaboratively create or manipulate structures? Is that right?
Correct. Yes, we have that capability where you're sharing a project, and people can come in and they can work with you. We're really interested in what as well, and actually how can we create a way that people can consume the content in a really slick way within StructureFlow? Could we do some form of kind of walkthrough with someone that they can be taken to, okay, this part of the structure or that part of the structure comments, is this right? Have we got all of the information about this entity or that entity, etc.? Yes, this is an area that we're super interested in going forwards.
So really, the flexibility of it is fantastic, and I can imagine would be so useful for many different use cases. Tim, thank you so much for showing this to us. And I can see all of the little flags, so you're able to store data in behind this about the entities and their jurisdictions, and it really is a new form of data visualization.
Absolutely, and you can see that in the data fields that we have here And we want to be putting data at the fingertips of people. We want to create not just diagrams, but visual models, visual interfaces into data. And we're just getting started. There's so much that we can do here that goes beyond diagramming.
Terrific. Tim, thank you so much for sharing this with us. It's been great to see more of StructureFlow. For anybody who wants to reach out to Tim and his team, we'll put our URL at the bottom of the screen so that you can contact them. Tim, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Nikki.
And thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.